Hey everybody, Ryan here from Android Coliseum, here to do a review finally on the Pixel 4a. I've had a hard time to really try to put into words about why I think this is the phone for you, because it really is, and it almost feels like it doesn't need to be said. It feels like a no-brainer. That being said, normally I try to take out my SIM card and I put it in that for a few weeks or so just to try to make sure I can live with it myself, but I have been hard pressed to put down the Pixel 4 XL. It's just such a big workhorse that I need myself all the time, and I felt a little limited by this, but that's just me. And we'll get into what you get out of this guy, because for most people, you just want a really good phone, really good battery, really good performance, no lag, and you want an excellent camera. And then this does all of that and includes at a really good price, $480 Canadian, and it's yours. So this, I think, is for most people out there. This is the phone of what you want. Okay, so let's go around with it. It is a smaller size, so it is about the same size as a non-plus iPhone. I like a little bit more real estate when I play around with my phones, but that's just me. Otherwise, this fits perfectly in the pocket, and that's really nice. It has that little punch out. I'm not a big fan of the punch out, but you forget about it that it's even there after a little bit of time. The big advantage I love is the fact that it uses a fingerprint sensor. I can't tell you how much I've missed a fingerprint sensor on my day-to-day device, especially in this era of COVID where we're constantly, wearing masks. I pick up my Pixel, and if it doesn't because I have my mask on, it doesn't recognize me. I have to punch in the pen. I feel like Neanderthal. This fingerprint sensor, it's in. No in-display sensor that I have to worry about where the sensor is or how accurate it's going to be. It just works like the way it should. It's a polycarbonate back, it feels like. I'm not sure 100%. I am pretty sure that's what it is. Yeah, polycarbonate unibody. So it does not have the QI charging, and that's the biggest break for me, is that without QI charging, to me, anything's a non-issue. If they'd made this with QI, this would be in my pocket right now. The other downside it doesn't have is the IP68 resistance that the 4XL has. So you want to make sure you get yourself a good case, and we've reviewed, the UAG, we've reviewed the Catalyst. So get yourself a good case. You're not going to worry about it being in the rain. On the weekend, I was volunteering for football, and it rained, and I had no problem. Didn't really concern myself about the fact my phone was out and in the rain and it would be ruined. This I might have to be a little more concerned about, but for $480, what do you expect? The other thing is that I do get spoiled on Quad HD, and this doesn't have Quad HD, but this is a really nice display, I gotta admit. It's really nice. This is almost noticeably no different than the 4 in terms of performance. I even been playing PUBG on it, and PUBG got myself a chicken dinner on it even. That's gonna tell you something. I had no problem playing it, no lag in it. I just found that if I was playing that and then going back to email and then going back to something on Sheets, it can be a little bit sluggish that way, and the fact that whereas my 4XL had no problem being able to manage that. Very rare use case scenario for being able to do that. Battery life, this has over a 3,000 milliamp hour battery, whereas the 4 didn't. And with a non-Quad HD display, this is lasting a long time. At least an hour of PUBG, and it dropped maybe 10-15% at most. This should be easily a full day device. The biggest thing you're gonna like about it is the camera. To be honest, the fact that it doesn't have the extra zoom lens that the 4XL has, don't care, never notice it, never miss it. But it's the same camera that all the Pixels since the 2 have had, and they're fantastic cameras. And not only just the fantastic lens and the sensor in it, but it comes with all the Google goodness and being able to do things like night shot, ultra HDR, etc. in the same camera, just in a cheaper body. So that's kind of really nice. The downside, like I said, is QI. That's a non-starter for me. But the other odd thing I miss out on is that there's no squeeze. Oops. There's no squeeze option on it to do that. And I find I actually use that a fair bit. I squeeze it instead of having to say the keywords. That being said, you just swipe in from the sides. That brings up your assistant, right? Yeah. I mean, really, there wasn't a lot to say between the difference of these two devices. Slightly smaller, slightly less resolution. Not that most people will notice about the resolution. A slightly smaller processor, but again, not that many people would notice it. Same amount of RAM, same camera. You know, this is slightly bigger battery, obviously, because it's a bigger device, but I mean, for a smaller, it's going to have a much more battery for its size than what you're also going to use for it. I just wish it had QI charging. The rest of it I can sort of overlook. The size, the resolution, the no IP68 coating on it. Outside of that, but if it had QI charging, I think you're going to find that would be the device. For most people, I don't think they're going to really notice that difference. And, you know, as much as I say I love QI charging, there's not a lot of people that really use it. So this may be the device for you. And if it's the, you know, deal clincher for you, it's got a headphone jack. So what are you waiting for? Anyways, that's the 4A. And like I said, this year, in the previous article we talked about, there's no 4A XL. They just wanted to give you the one option this year instead of having varieties. They just wanted to sort of streamline the process. Who knows what we're going to see in the next round, which will be pretty shortly, I think, soon. But if you need a workhorse, do everything all the time, you really rely on it, then obviously the non-A version would be for you. But for 99.9% of the population, you're not going to notice that infinitesimal difference. So save yourself a couple $100, get the 4A, and enjoy the phone. Okay, that's my review. I'll have a bit of a write-up on the website. If you have any question, folks, please feel free to give me a holler. Ciao.